All right, cheers and salutations. Welcome, everyone, to Americans Learn. My name is Kit. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that ring bell notification. That way all of you are made aware when we upload new content, you guessed it, upon our YouTube channel. And today, we got ourselves a fun video to check out. It is titled, I Tested the Deadliest Ancient Weapons. Now listen, folks, don't try this stuff at home. I better not be reading reports about people making trebuchets or catapults or scorpions or sling throwers and seeing if they could use them in real life. Chances are something very stupid will happen and either you or somebody will get hurt or worse. So, this is a video from Mike Shake. So without further ado, since I'm in charge of the ones and twos, let's get ready to enjoy this video. Before we do, the original link to this video is in the description box below. So let's go ahead and check this video out in a 3, a 2, and an uno.
Can a 10,000-year-old weapon generate more destructive energy than a modern firearm? And what about a 700,000-year-old knife? Can that be as sharp as a razor-sharp steel blade? This is all stuff I think about being your average unemployed friend on a Tuesday morning.
Okay, yeah, man, I can relate. I have been that guy, and I've known people like that too. Sometimes you come up with the greatest conversations ever, and then you go right back to eating some snacks and smoking a joint.
Nonetheless, I wanna find out. So, I'm gonna test 3 weapons that get progressively older and measure how effective and powerful they are. And the first one is the sling. These things are fascinating. You can kill giants with it.
Let's see, according to 1 Samuel 17, Goliath, a heavily armed Philistine giant, challenged Saul for 40 days to send out a man to fight him. No one would face this warrior until David, armed only with a sling and stones, volunteered. David hit the giant in the forehead with a stone and killed him. Yes, the time when giants existed.
Allegedly. And so, I want to find out how it works, what kind of energy it generates, and then test the damage against a few targets. A sling is one of the oldest known projectile weapons, and Sumerian, Greek, and Roman armies all had specialized slingers. So, what do you do for a living? Why just throw lethal rocks at people?
Alright, that's pretty cool. Reasonable. After all, it's what a good true Roman would do.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, a sling is basically a pouch attached to 2 cords, and the projectiles you load into the pouch can be stones, lead bullets, which are actually pretty nice because they spin in the air, stabilizing the shot, soda cans, tape. Alright, let's test it. To shoot, I gotta place the loop on one end of the sling, in the middle of the middle finger, load the projectile, and hold the other end of the sling. Now, there are many techniques you can use to shoot a sling, based on the position of your arm. And I'm not great at any of
See, now I wouldn't do that either, because I think that, like, something would happen to me. YouTuber dies by throwing a sling rock.
them. It takes a lot of practice, especially to get accurate with it. And since I used one just once before, I'm basically just improvising. But then, after practicing for a while, I'm now starting to get the timing down. And even though this camera angle doesn't give you the idea of how fast the rocks are actually flying, it's pretty clear that the energy generates, well, it's a lot. To measure it, I placed 2 sticks 1.3 meters apart from each other, and by shooting a projectile in between them and filming in slow motion, I can find the velocity of the projectile and also the energy from there. First, I'm throwing a 107 grams rock by hand, and following my calculations, the rock is flying at about 23 meters a second, carrying an energy of 27.7 joules. Then I throw a similar sized rock, but this time using the sling, and with that I get a speed of about 32 meters a second, with an energy of 60.1 joules. That's more than double the energy I got by just throwing the rock by hand. Now,
just imagine that hitting you in the skull. It's either you're going to have a bad day or you're dead. Or you're going to be having a bad day and slowly die.
The reason why a sling is able to generate so much more power compared to just throwing a rock is because of centripetal force. When you swing a sling, the tension in the cords and the speed of rotation generate kinetic energy, and when the sling is released, all this energy is transferred to the projectile, increasing the speed. Moreover, since a sling basically becomes an extension of your arm, it also gives you a mechanical advantage, and that's why longer slings are generally more powerful than the short ones. Lastly, I tried another test with a much heavier rock, and the sling still managed to throw the rock at about 24 meters a second, which converts to 95 joules. For comparison, that's almost 20% more energy than what I could get with the lethal slingshot I built a while ago.
Yo.
And I believe that with a better technique and aerodynamic projectiles, it could probably get into small firearm territory. Now, what happens when you hit stuff with it? I started with a watermelon and of course, I missed a bunch of times. Damaged the sawhorse, which I actually find quite impressive.
Oh, that's actually
but after a few more tries, I got it.
Why does my eye hurt after watching that?
Can this kill giants though? Well, I couldn't find any giant willing to test that. Come
Come on, you couldn't call Shaq?
on man, I'm sure it'll be fine. But I found this one. This is a ballistic dummy, so the gelatin should simulate muscle tissue, and the bones? Bones. In short, the damage on this thing should be a pretty accurate representation of what would happen to someone if they got hit by a sling. First, I need to hit it though.
No, he's dead. Nope. Nope.
Spoiler, it's gonna take a while. So I'm gonna just skip this process for you, and while I throw rocks at nothing for the next few hours, I wanna shout out Displate for supporting this video. I got these three in the shop for a while, and I think they still look great. And so I got a few ones for my house too. I love watching movies, so this time, they're basically all about that. The first one is from Lord of the Rings. For me, one of the coolest shots in movie history. The second one is The Dark Knight.
Yes, that was a great movie, and actually, I got out of the Marine Corps just when that film was being made here in Chicago. Oh, what a time to be alive.
posted a picture of Harvey Dent in one of my previous videos, and nobody got the reference. You gotta watch it, it's a masterpiece. And then the last one is from Dune, one of my favorite movies in recent years. The posters feel sturdy, and the clarity on the images is really good. Displate also recently launched this new product called Displate Textura, which gives extra clarity to the images by having a sort of 3D texture on the posters. Hanging the posters is also super intuitive, and you find everything you need to do it inside the box. You just stick the protective leaf, stick the magnet to the leaf, and hang the display. And this way, you can also adjust it or move it however you like it. My shop has pretty rough walls, but the
Okay, that thing is hypnotizing me, and that will throw me off.
posters are still hanging there, so I guess it works. There are millions of artworks available in the Displate catalog, and you can pick from original art or licensed designs such as Marvel, Star Wars, or Elden Ring. You can get them right now by going to displate.com/MikeShake or use my promo code MikeShake to get a really nice discount. It's 22% off if you get 2 displates and 30% off if you get 3 or more. And I'm also leaving a link in the description if you want to check them out at the end of the video. Anyways, after 40 minutes, I hit the first shot. And at first I thought I did nothing to the dummy, but then I checked the slow motion footage. My goal is obviously to hit the skull. But I feel like this shot is kinda impressive already. The dummy is pretty heavy, and the rock not only flipped it 90 degrees, but it also left deep cuts into the gelatin. And so I kept trying. In all that, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there is a sort of crack when I let the sling go, and that is coming from the sling traveling faster than the speed of sound. It turns out a sling basically works like a whip. When the sling
Yo, what the heck was that?
is released, the kinetic energy built up during the swing is transferred down the length of the sling. The transfer of energy increases in speed as it moves along the sling, accelerating the tip of the sling, called cracker, till it flies faster than the speed of sound. Now the purpose of having a cracker is to dissipate the energy and slow the sling down, so it basically doesn't come back whipping you every time you shoot. Anyway,
Yeah, because that would really suck. I'm wondering, like, there must have been a lot of trial and error. Like, hey, man, we keep throwing these rocks. Slings are great and everything, but, you know, it always whips us back in the face. Anyone have an invention? And some guy named Billy Cracker came along and said, hey, man, I got this device for you. Yeah, y'all are throwing slings and getting whipped in the face. let me help you slow it down so that way it doesn't. Billy Cracker from ancient Sumeria.
The more I'm using it, the more I'm becoming a fan of this thing. As you can see, even if I still don't know what I'm doing, it's pretty insane to me what a simple piece of rope can do. And after about 1 hour, I finally managed to hit the skull.
Ah.
Oh, it cracked it. The rock still had a lot of energy left though, and so I shot one more time. And this time, I got it clean.
I think the one above the head is like the death blow, but okay.
Breaking the bones and cutting the gelatin once again. For the next weapon, we're gonna go back about 10,000 years. I'm talking about spear throwers. I found one in carbon fiber, but before checking it out, I'm mounting the spear, which kinda looks more like a long arrow than a spear. It got feathers, a pointy tip on one end, and a slot on the other end, while the spear thrower has this sort of pin that locks into the slot of the spear, basically like this. And I'm very curious to test this, but I probably shouldn't do it in my shop.
No. Yeah, you did it anyways. Shame on you.
So then I went outside. You know, it's actually quite easy to use, I wasn't expecting it. After just a few throws, I was already hitting the targets. History says this was actually a big step in human evolution, because before using this, we were just throwing spears by hand. A spear thrower works by extending the length of the thrower's arm, providing leverage that significantly increases the velocity. And
yes, that's what actually really helped us out in comparison to the Neanderthals. What I find interesting is as soon as Homo sapien were able to establish themselves, there was a point. There's a couple of channels I check out, like Extinct Zoo and a few other paleontology channels, because back in the day, a long time ago, I wanted to be a paleontologist, and I was on 2 dinosaur expeditions in Montana and 1 in South Dakota. Way back when I was in high school. So those are a lot of fun, but sometimes dreams do die. But I find it fascinating because occasionally I dabble looking at updates in paleontology and prehistoric Earth and ancient humans. And there was a point in human history where we weren't the only ones living on this planet. There was Homo sapien neanderthalis, and even the Homo sapien habitus, which was like a prehistoric hobbit or something like that. It was a subspecies of Homo erectus. Stop laughing. That was living, and it was like a dwarf human, like a hobbit. So there you go. That's pretty fascinating. And then earlier, even before Homo sapien or Neanderthals came around, there was a point when there were like 15 other hominids species living around. So it was kind of like the Planet of the Apes almost, man. Fascinating stuff.
And accuracy of the spears. So compared to just using our arms, it allowed us to increase the reach, hunt larger game, and also be more accurate. Or at least that's the theory. So let's test that. I'm gonna throw one spear by hand and one using this, and we're gonna see the difference. I hope you can see me. Test 1, range. First shot using my hands.
Nice.
All right. Now the spear thrower.
Oh! And that's how we got dinner. We got some deer and a rabbit.
Oh my. I got 22 meters by hand and 48 meters with the spear thrower. You probably didn't even see where it landed. I'm gonna give you a better angle. Oh, that went further away than the last time. So when it comes to range, a spear thrower is definitely a big step up.
Watch and be like, you hit me!
64. Right now I want to test penetration and damage. And well, you already know this guy. He's just...
His name's Bobby.
Not in great shape right now. So I'm gonna just use the back of the head. Shot 1 using my hands. I don't even know if I can hit it, to be honest. Nope. Well, after a while I actually hit it though. I think I got it. But the spear did basically nothing to the skull.
I don't know. That still looked like that would hurt. Like, you nicked me in the head.
So then I got a little bit closer and I hit it.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna ruin his day.
Oh, nice. This would have hurt.
Yeah.
What is happening? Anyways, the spear got actually quite deep. Alright, spear thrower, shot one. Jeez, that's definitely different.
Oh. Oh.
Same exact spot, by the way. And the penetration was certainly higher than before. I also tried to hit the skull. It took me a while, and I broke a few spears in the process. But interestingly, when I hit it, the spear snapped, bouncing back towards me a little too fast for comfort. And most importantly, it didn't do significant damage to the skull.
Wow.
Just a little dent.
Still looks like it would hurt.
Still though, I find this quite fascinating and very, very fun to use. It's nice. The third weapon I want to test is the oldest one of the list, and it's Obsidian. Google says it's many times sharper than the sharpest steel blades. So I want to test that. I got a machine that measures exactly that. The plan is to compare Obsidian to 3 different steel blades: a utility razor blade, a shaving blade, and a chef's knife I'm gonna sharpen myself. As a reference, a high-end kitchen knife should be around 300 on the scale, and
Ooh, that's pretty nice.
the utility razor blade scored 235, while a shaving razor is one of the sharpest blades you can purchase. And with that, I got a nice 35, also proving that the method I'm using is pretty accurate. And now it's time for the chef's knife. This is an old knife I bought from IKEA, and it's pretty dull. So I'm spending a while sharpening it with 2 different whetstones, from a medium grit to basically a polishing one, which is so fine that it doesn't even make a noise when I swipe the knife on it.
Ooh.
It took me about 10 minutes to do it, and right now this thing should be very sharp. So now, as I did with the previous blades, I'm measuring the actual sharpness.
Not that sharp.
I wanna double check that, so I'm trying again. 50. Alright, I think I enjoy sharpening stuff a little too much. I'm not sure why. Anyways, these are all the results I got with the steel blades. Now, it's time to test Obsidian. Actually though, what even is Obsidian?
Yeah.
Turns out, it's a type of glass that forms when lava cools down rapidly, usually when it comes into contact with water or air. This rapid cooling prevents the formation of crystals, and in short, that's basically why it looks like that. It feels like a chunk of glass, and like glass, it's brittle. So, to make a knife out of obsidian, I need to start from a larger block and slowly remove material. The problem is that all the videos I watched say the same thing. You need to
Make sure to strike the obsidian in the right areas with the correct amount of force.
And if you are like me, and you're using a mousepad to protect your leg, and a hammer to strike obsidian, that sentence doesn't make any sense. I'm
No, this looks like a disaster waiting to happen.
still trying to do that though, hitting the right parts with the correct amount of force, which in practice turned to hitting random parts with random amount of force. And after 20 minutes, I started to get kinda frustrated. Every time I felt I was kinda getting closer, then the stones randomly snapped. I really thought I was gonna make this work, but after 1 hour...
There it is all on the ground.
The only thing I did was turning big obsidian rocks into smaller obsidian rocks. Like a lot of them. I even tried grinding it. It didn't work. Massive respect for all the craftsmen making obsidian blades and all the Neanderthal men out there. I seriously underestimated this thing. And now that I had no more obsidian to make a knife, I thought about buying one. The problem is that I couldn't find any store in Europe that could ship an obsidian knife in time.
Hold on, let me read that again.
The problem is that I couldn't find any store in Europe.
Unfortunately, true obsidian knives remain somewhat rare in European stores. Many options for obsidian blades are found in artisan or specialty stores, often from non-European stores. That means America. You gotta go to America. America. If you're specifically seeking obsidian for its aesthetic or practical use, these 2 stores provide reliable options within Europa.
Europe that could ship an obsidian knife in time, besides this website that says obsidian scalpels. And then it hit me. Not the scalpel, but a realization. Even though it would be cool to have one of these big obsidian knives, are not even that sharp, because they are pretty thick. That is sharp. Obsidian flakes. And luckily, I got a lot of them. As a reminder, these are the results I got with the steel blades. And now I'm gonna test this, which is obviously pretty sharp. When I tried to measure it, I only got 90. So then I got the thinnest flake I could find, but when I measured the sharpness, I got a score even higher than before, probably because the edge wasn't very clean. Then I tried with different flakes with a cleaner edge, and things went definitely better. Obsidian is very sharp, but during my tests at least, I never managed to get results that are 10 times sharper than razor blades or my IKEA knife. Even when cutting paper, you feel more resistance compared to the steel blades. Still though, it's pretty cool, and I'd like to make a knife out of this one day. Next, I'm gonna make a very special sword, and then I'm gonna finally test my supersonic Nerf blaster. So if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe to see when they come out.
I would love to see that. I think we did check out the Nerf blaster video, but okay, prehistoric weapons. They were able to get the job done, and that's how you hunt down the woolly mammoths. Because let's face it, cavemen needed to make sure that they got the mammoth meat, the woolly rhino meat, the what was another large prehistoric animal? Hey, stop the cave bears or the saber-toothed tigers from entering into the cave. I mean, there's only one way to fight back, and that means using technology. And our spears, our obsidian knives, our slingshots. You know, that's how it was able to be done. And not to mention, it really shows just how brutal ancient warfare was in antiquity, especially when the Romans or the Greeks or any of the other ancient armies were, you know, doing these large battles in which maybe 50,000 to 100,000 men were fighting to the death. I mean, it wasn't a pretty sight, and let's just say I'm glad I'm born in this modern day and age where, you know, you don't have to be, you know, frightened as you're heading out to your farm patch and you look over the hill and see 20,000 barbarians charging down, and you don't have to say, "Hey, honey, I think we're at war." All right, folks. First of all, shout out to, again, the original content creator. Please, the original link to this video is in the description box below. Mike Shake. It's the right thing to do. It's the one thing to do. So please support the original content creator. And if this is stuff you guys like us checking out here, type in the comment section below. So that way, you know, we'll know and get your feedback. So please take good care of yourselves and each other. Drink the water. And don't try any of that stuff at home. All right. I don't want to open up my newspaper and see, you know, people building these ancient weapons and stuff going wrong in a horrible, horrible way.